Hey guys, it's me, Smew again, and you ever wonder how to do this in Udon? It's a code where if you walk up to it, whatever game object, it appears, and when you walk away from it, it disappears. So it's gonna help with optimizing your worlds and just reduce, like, the draw calls or whatnot. And because if you're really far away, it's not like you could even read the stuff anyways, and it's just going to look better, and you're going to get better frames for the questies, and just all around everybody happy. Okay, so I'll show you how to do this proximity script right now. So, this is not it. Basically, I'm starting from scratch, okay? So, I'm here. I'm going to create... You're in your world, right? And then you have an object that you want to appear and disappear. That's going to be this cube over here for me. And then what you want to do is create a game object. Alright, so then this will have a box collider around it. And this is going to be the area that's going to be used for the trigger zone. So you could, when you walk into it, you can see it, and when you're out of it, the object disappears. I'm going to drag this out because if you make the cube disappear with the script inside, then the script will be disabled. So let's call this proximity cube and create a new script. I'm going to actually do an Udon behavior in this case. So select new program. It's called proximity cube. Right, so I'm actually going to delete the one I used previously, just so I don't get any sort of errors. Alright, so let's create a new program. Okay, create a script. Right there, it creates the Udon asset, so proximity cube is just fine. Click save. Alright, looks like once this loads in, it'll disappear. Okay, this should be empty for you. So there you go, just like that, it reloads. So you have your proximity cube with the trigger or the box collider. That's going to be your trigger. Make sure you select is trigger on, so it just doesn't become a collider you can walk on. Let's open up that script and get started. I'm going to get rid of the start function, so it's not necessary for now. I'm going to use a public variable. It's going to be a game object, and this could be, your mirrors, your walls, text. So I'm just going to call this target. And we're going to use a function called from the API called onPlayer trigger enter. Alright, so onPlayer trigger enter is actually part of the VRChat API, so we're gonna have to give it a parameter, and it's not gonna auto fill it out for you because it isn't part of Unity to begin with. So VRCPlayer API, and then this is how you're going to reference the player. Alright, so you want to detect if it's the local player, or else it's going to apply to, I'll show you actually. So the target, if you're in the trigger, you're going to set the game object active to true, and this is how you do it. But if you do this, then you walk into the object, and might appear for you and everybody else in the instance as well. Even if the others aren't in the trigger, it'll trigger on for them. So it's always, I had some problem with the teleport script one time. You just want to, where, people were teleporting. If you teleported yourself, everybody around you would get teleported too. So you just want to check for local player and this is something my friend told me about, and shout out to them. So anyways, so networking dot local player, just like that, and you want to see if it's true, if this is indeed the local player, then you want to run your whatever it is you're doing. So here, whether you're teleporting, setting a game object active, you always want to check to see if it's the local player to begin with. All right, so that's cool. But if you walk away from the trigger, you want it to disappear, right? So there's public void on player trigger exit. Same thing here, same shenanigans, player API. Right, here's the player again. It should be called local player. So if player is the local player again, I'm just hitting tab to fill out the rest of the code. Right here, target dot set active is going to be false this time. All right, so that should be everything you need to get that script going. It's very simple. Once you save and that star goes away from there, you click back into Unity and you'll see that loading symbol. It's just going to take some time to compile the Udon. It can be pretty slow actually. All right, so in order to test if that works, I have the spawn point already like within the area where this should show up. I'm gonna keep the code the cube disabled, and then yeah, when I load in, if all works, then you should see that cube first thing when you load in. Yeah, so super excited about sharing this Udon knowledge, passing it on to you guys. We're not talking about making noodles. We're talking about like writing C# code, VRChat API. It's more, I think it's more fun. It could be more fun than Udon Graph, where if you want to think about something and you're comfortable with coding and it's just fun, it's like a puzzle, you know. It's a little frustrating at first, it was for me. Actually, my functions, I'm just thinking right now, I have public void, and I just want to see something actually. Difference between void and override void. Okay. So I didn't write public override void, but we'll see if that actually made a difference or not. Okay, so where is that? Alright, that's where it is, all the way down there. Okay, cool. Just if I keep walking this way, eventually it should just pop out of nowhere. Yeah, I'm doing that thing again. So when you write a public variable, it's gonna give you a slot that you then have to add a game object to, link it there, and that's the final step. My bad, I rushed through this a little bit. Not to confuse you or anything. He. Yeah. Pretty soon should look like that. Yeah. It works well, and then eventually you're gonna want to do multiple objects. So this is actually disappearing, and this is toggling on and off the back, the white part of the board over here, and the letters and text too. So same over here. This is turning on and off the image playlist. Then there's a separate script for the back. So eventually, like, I'd want to do it so it's one script that has multiple slots for different game objects that you could toggle on and off. And I'll show you how to do that next. Maybe in the next video actually, I think it's important to get the fundamentals working at least. Maybe it's necessary to include the override. Like, I was just looking at how I wrote the script before, and that's how it goes. So maybe this is what it takes to get it. Okay. I'll include the timestamps to different parts of this video like in the description, plus links to the code on my GitHub page. You could download yourself and give it a try. Yeah, this definitely, like, as I added more things to my world, this definitely became a script that was like super helpful. I was looking for it for a long time, but just couldn't find it. I knew in Worlds it was really popular to have this functionality on mirrors, so if you walked away from a mirror it would turn off, and I think that's a great application. You know, some of the mirror prefabs already have by default a proximity code already on it, so that if you walk away from the player only mirror it disappears, and this is an example of how it works. So yeah, you need that public override void to get the API to work there. So thanks for tuning in and being patient with me and just like sticking around for the journey. There's actually one more thing I want to show you. So if in the window, if you go to the Udon Sharp tab and open up the class exposure tree, you could see a list of Unity like base classes that can't be used the VRChat API, because I know when you're running the code you'll see the compiler errors saying that maybe this is a little bit more on the intermediate to advanced side. Like if you know what functions you're trying to go for, like if you want to work with colliders, you could see, okay, yeah, I could work with capsule collider. 83% of these functions work. I just can't use this constructor right here. I'm not sure what all these do, but I do know like 2D, it's just obvious you know you're not going to be working with like 2D objects here. Animator, there's a lot of like animation limitations, and you know I'm trying to get it so that animations could play when you click a button. So you know I'll be putting out more tutorials. I hope this helps, because I know there's not that many out there, and I wish there was more. So but I actually like contributing and having fun with it. So there you go, that's the proximity script I use in my world, and I hope you can use it for something useful in yours too. I think it works pretty well. Like again, if you wanted to make this for multiple objects, then I suggest, okay, this is gonna be, let's just do this. So there's a for loop in C#. I think it goes like this. So you have a variable and you want to say how many targets do you want, right? So this is int num targets. So the number of targets you want. Then I'll have when you enter it, it's going to go through this list. So then there will be like a for loop here. So for int I equals 0, I'm going to start from the range and then to say I is less than the number of targets that you defined. And so here, this is going to say plus plus, and that's just C#. So what you're saying, like add one extra to the loop. So I don't know how much I have to explain here. Whenever I see red, it just like, all right, so there was a list, right? Instantiate the game objects, put public. If there's 5, it's going to go through this list of of 5 game objects. And I think the best way to go about this is to like look at the reset script, because JetDog's reset script does have like a for loop here that just picks up the list that you define as VRC pickup, and then you can do like a public game object list called like target list or whatever. And here you could do like that, and then so yeah, thanks JetDog. So but anyways, I want to kind of copy this, paste it. Let's see if it works for. Oh, this is the first time I'm doing this for myself actually as well, so I'm very excited about this. Make sure to set that to false, not flosse, but false. And then I'm just gonna quickly look at how to do this like looped in. Oh, it's I++. Okay. So iterator ++. That's what it is. And yeah, this will go through the list of targets. You'll give it a number, and that's how many game objects you have, and then it'll go down the list, turning them true, turning them false. Like, this is something I've been procrastinating on. I'm actually really excited to see this work. What we're gonna do is add more game objects to the scene, like so. Okay. Okay, so it's not, all right, so now I want to have a target list. I want to set that, target list to 5. Let's just do 5. Okay, so it looks like the target list and the num targets doesn't actually have to be there anymore. So I'm going to get rid of num targets and just make it the length of the list. So that's target list dot length, something like that. That should work. That should. It cannot be applied to the operands. I just want to get the length. Alright, I'm just going to quickly get length of list, C#. Is it list.count? I'm going to try that. So we just got to get the length of this list. So I'm going to say unity length of game object list. It looks like the game object array does have, I'm looking at this by the way. It looks like the length of the array can be determined by dot count, but this is a list object, a list of game objects. We could do it that way. It says use a list. Yeah, these guys are. This is what it comes down to. Okay, thank you guys on the forums. It looks like this is what it is. All right, so thanks for being patient with me, and that's how I get these things to work. You know, just go on those forums, and highly recommend it. I'm gonna clean up some of the code right now, and then let's try different game objects. Actually, let's try to do this. Okay, here we go. Cause yeah, I mean that still probably would have worked if I just left it alone, but I gotta think about scuffed code. Let's just do 3 for now. We have a cube, and I'm gonna do another cube. It's gonna be like over here, and this is gonna be another cube. Alright, great. I'll just give it some color just to make it easier to see. That is like the ugliest thing. Okay, ready? Ah, pink, yes, pink, my favorite color. One of my favorite colors, great. Okay, so it's not that much of a difference, but when you go into the proximity cube, you have your slots. Oh, this is great. So whatever objects you put here, like this could be a mirror, you can have like pens. Like I wouldn't recommend doing pens because you can move them around and stuff unless you want to keep them within a certain area. You could do like bowling stuff, like let's just put some like bowling pin in here, and then then you'll see how this could be used. And say I wanted to add another one to the list. Alright, let me just take that bowling pin and slap it in there. Alright, make sure the stuff is turned off just to test it out, just to see if it works. And if all works, it should go through this list of objects in the target list. When you enter it, checks if it's a local player or not. Based on the length of the list, it's gonna run through that loop and set all of them active, like sequentially there. So yeah, just even showing you guys these tricks and tips and tricks on my end, I'm improving my world too. So like that's what's great about this. It's a little bit of a longer video, but I figured if you're interested in Udon coding, and if you want to get a little bit of a better understanding, like using the class exposure tree, it doesn't help to kind of spend some time watching someone else do it. Shout out to Valgan for putting out his videos and answering my questions in Discord when we were on voice call. I think he's got some great content, and I learned a lot from him too. And shout out to like Osinio too for making these cool worlds that I love to hang out and play in, but also giving me advice on some coding stuff. Like shout out to Tech Anon who made the Pro TV. He's got like some really good cool advice too, and because of these great friends and people that like to make Udon code and share it with the world, I'm able to put that out for you guys too. There's just a little bit of a loading thing here. But my VR chat has been acting up. My API and stuff, whatever, making worlds, just taking forever to load. Alright, there we go. So all the gang's all here, and when you walk away, it should disappear. Of course, do it. It's the cutoff is over here in the back. So yeah, there you go. That's making objects appear and disappear using Udon code. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do so if you want to see more Udon tutorials, because I'm going to be pumping these out more often, because very high demand right now. A lot of people are getting into the space of trying to make worlds. There's like a huge wave of people, like, you know, in with the Oculus Quest, and then they get inspired to want to make content. So I hope to be, you know, one of those people that just other people are thankful for. Like, hey, I'm so glad, you know, that tutorial came out and was able to do this and that or whatnot. So yeah, it was good seeing you again, even though good knowing that you're here with me, hanging out with me. Like, so I hope to hang out with you, and I hope to see your